Okay, so we are going to talk about paper mache, and I have a variety of tools and materials out here to show you. So we have chicken wire here that has been formed with a layer of paper mache. We have cardboard, a cardboard shape right here. And we also just have newsprint that can be molded with our hands and using tape. And I'm going to try to attach all of these different materials to this object and just to show you how paper mache can be used. For the paper mache, there's two different types right here. This is a paper mache just made with glue. It's approximately a 1-to-1 mixture, a little bit more of glue in there. And this is something that you can make at your house. There's also other types of paper mache. This is a rice paste powder. There's also a wheat paste powder that you can use. Rice paste is gluten-free, so I like to use this stuff. It can also be made just with flour and water. So it's a fine powder, just like that. Right here, it's safe to touch, non-toxic. I have a little bit of water right here. I'm just gonna start putting this in. I don't have to do this super carefully. I have a homemade whisk right here where I can start to whip that up. Okay, so I've added a few handfuls of the rice paste powder into this. You can see it is starting to get thick, very, very thick. You can add water to this as you're mixing it. You can see the consistency of that. It's actually, when I squeeze it down like this, it's actually not lumpy. If you have lumps in your paste, that means it hasn't been thoroughly mixed enough. And we can take a form like this, a wire form. This has some paper mache that has already hardened. And I can take another form like this cardboard form. And one method to temporarily attach these is just using masking tape. Make sure my object is secure on there. And I don't want to overdo the masking tape because the paper mache sticks better to paper surfaces or porous surfaces than an impermeable surface like a plastic coating on the tape right there. Here I have some different types of newsprint that have been kind of pre-torn, pre-cut. There's no right way or wrong way to do this. It just kind of depends on your application, whether you're going to use little pieces like this, if you're going to use strips like this, or larger pieces like this. Like right here, I've got a newsprint pad, and this is something that if you tear with the grain of the paper, you can just tear it very quickly like that. And if you want to even tear that in half, I can make that even into thinner strips. And you can see how straight that tear is. Tearing this way, it curves. You can't get as straight a cut, just like that. So if you just tear with the grain, you'll be able to make very straight pieces like this. My paste is actually a little bit too thick, so you can see how it's dried out just a little bit over a few minutes like that. So I'm actually gonna add water to this. So this is my revised consistency. I just added water to that and was whipping it with my homemade whisk right there. And there's different ways to put the paper mache in. I like to go just like this. And then you're gonna have a bunch on there. You don't want that excess material on there. You're just gonna pull it off just like that. And that way, your piece is gonna dry faster. I'm gonna take it through this negative space. I'm gonna go right over my masking tape that I put down there to temporarily hold that. And then I can mold that as I put it down. Get another piece. Pull off my excess, just like that. And then put that down. You can see I'm not dunking the paper in. You can dunk it in. but you're just gonna have more material that you need to kind of wipe off. As long as you're doing the glue onto the surface that you're trying to adhere to, you're gonna be fine. If you're doing this and you know that you can't be clean with it, you should be doing this on a layer of cardboard or newsprint underneath your piece. And you can see I'm overlaying my paper mache. I'm not just doing a single layer, but as I lay it over, I've got 5 or 6 here now, I am pushing this down. I'm trying to make actually a smooth surface here. The surface that you leave will be visible. I'm laying it all over itself in multiple directions, and that is actually making it stronger. And I'm gonna have some weight on this triangle piece here, so I do want that to be quite strong. My paper mache is, again, it's layering on top of itself, and that is kind of giving the whole piece an exoskeleton. But now that's gonna dry as a nice solid surface. Here I'm gonna go perpendicular. I'm tying into the paper mache that I already put underneath there. And I can already feel, like I'm touching this now, and it actually has more strength than when I started just a few minutes ago. We've added this triangle structure to this piece, and that's one method of attaching different materials together. Another common way with paper mache is just taking newsprint and just crumbling it up and just wrap it. Just start to create a form. But you can start to see here, I'm making this form. Only my hands. I can even get more detailed with this, forming it in. I want to make that a sharper point, for instance. It's as if you're putting a wireframe of tape around your newsprint. And I can do paper mache on this, just like I was doing with the triangle. We can also attach these together. You can kind of find an opening here. I'm gonna kind of stick that in and just form a wire to hold that. And I can take these and I want to put these where the two different materials join first, because I want that joint between the wire and the newsprint to be strong before I start adding weight out here with the glue. And I can form it around, in this case, around this chicken wire very quickly and easily. I don't want to turn my object upside down at this point because it doesn't have enough strength to do that. But I will want to get the paper mache all the way under there. You can put as many layers of this on top of itself. This layer here that's dry already, I think is 2 or 3 layers. And so I'm adding a 3rd layer to it.
I think dry time too can be affected by humidity and how thick you're putting your paper mache on.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I do recommend, again, like why I'm wiping this off, to have it as thin as possible, saturated but as thin as possible, because it can also mold if you put too much paper mache onto that, too much of the glue, and it just pools up on your actual piece. So you can see here now with my object, I'm transitioning from this zone into this zone, and it's all getting that unified surface. If I see pooling like I do right there in an area like that, just take it off with your finger. You don't need that excess sitting on your paper mache.